the Cambridge Clothing Index served as a place where it could become a public sculpture and archive that physically held clothes that were layered one after another into one of 21 different cases that were mounted on the wall. And we also had a place that could collect stories that people had written, even very brief descriptions, which told us a lot in connection with those clothing. So because the work was made for a library, and because I think clothes hold stories, I made the connection between the library and books and storytelling and the clothes and our personal stories and the stories of our lives. I started working with clothing during my graduate studies in the late 80s. Initially, I thought I could borrow clothes from the Salvation Army, and then at the end of my temporary exhibition, because my ethic was that I didn't want to do anything to alter the clothes. I was just arranging them and assembling them in different ways. So I thought at the end I could take the clothes and return them. But I was told way back in like 1988 that I could buy these clothes, and I was happy to do that, not rent them, and that I was not to return them, because even back in 1988, they had a huge excess of used clothing. And I used the word used at the time, well, because it's common word to employ, but also because I wanted to have the sense of the connection to the body, and that it kind of held our memories, and I tried to present clothes in a way that the viewer would have a sense of absence of the people who had worn the clothes, and hopefully think to also who made the clothes. But now with fast fashion, I find that when I am able and go back to working with clothes again, the clothes feel very different. In the late 80s, most of the clothes I got were clothes that were older, like, I could say they were clothes that were, 10, 15, 20 years old, that kind of thing. Now and they had a real sense of history. Now when I get clothes, very few of them are old. Some of them even still have their tags on them. I don't have a sense of the history of the people, even though I never knew what that history was. I was still really attracted to that, not knowing. I don't have a sense of that. It's like they feel much more like empty shells. And yet, they're already going to the thrift store. And so I would say these clothes at this point are unwanted. Nobody's created a connection with them through the history of their lives that they want these clothes. If I go to the store and I buy something and I bring it home, let's say I bought 3 of them and I bring it home to show other members of my family, what do you think? What looks best? And then I go to return the other 2. It's not hard for me to return the other 2 because I have not created a relationship with them. But then I have clothes in my drawer that I wore like for 20 years that don't fit anymore. But it's really hard for me to get rid of them because I have this story and sense of history with these that I feel like if I bring it to the thrift store, that connection clearly is lost. And I don't want to feel that. I'm worried about feeling that sense of loss and that nobody else will value it. It will be unwanted. And that is kind of hard to take, I find. So that's why I created the Cambridge Clothing Index, so that people would have a place to come and bring their clothes that were meaningful for them. And I just want to end off, I guess, by mentioning Mary Meisner, who was the curator who supported the project. And she donated jackets, beautiful wool jackets, suit jackets, very nicely made, that were her father's. So she could take those jackets, and then that might not have been in style anymore, and maybe nobody would be wearing those jackets anymore, but then those jackets could become held in this public commission that will be in the library for many years to come.